So I wanted to record this. Well, I was about to write it, but I thought that it would take too long, and it's fresh on my mind right now, and I don't want to forget any details because I'm driving around town doing some tasks, so I don't really have time to just like sit there and type out everything that I was going to write. So I just had this. So what was going on is I was watching this video, and the video was about something that my guides did not want me to work with. And I was like, why? It seems good. Sometimes I just like to protest, and I'm just like, why don't you want me to work with this? It seems like it's a good idea, Because like a lot of times I'm serious. It's like, it doesn't make sense to the human. And so then I could feel them like feeling around like in my body and like swirling energy. Like I could just feel them. Like I don't even think I should describe it, but I could feel them. And then they gave me this vision, and the vision that I saw is I was in another place and it's kind of like I'm just watching. So sometimes when these things happen, I'm just watching from some perspective, like in the room. Like sometimes it's below, sometimes it's like right there. So I'm watching, and we're in this room, and people are wearing blue gowns. It's like a bluish gray. So it reminds me of like back in the day when maybe they didn't have super bright colors. We're all standing in a stone temple. The lighting is like a bluish silver lightning color. And this bubbling cloud there's just this bubbling cloud, this light that's coming down in the center. And from the bubbling cloud emerge, like they're wearing gowns. So I guess Christ and his beloved. So I'm assuming Mary Magdalene. And yeah, so they emerge down from this beautiful swirling cloud. And we were all, it's like their light was lighting us up in this beautiful silver blue lightning shade. And we were all in a circle, and we're holding hands. There was like the first inner circle, and there's men and women, and we all had long gowns with long sleeves in that same bluish gray color from like the olden days. And then they came down, and when they came down, there was more circles of other humans that I think are the descendants of Christ or carriers of the codes. And there was an outer circle. The first one that I saw was a bunch of women who were like nuns. They wore the same, I think it was the same, maybe slightly different bluish, grayish tunics from back in the day. And they had a bonnet with like a little white thing at the top. And they all bowed, like deep bow, like on your knees bow. And we all bowed in the circle. And I mean, I intended this, like I'm not sure about my body, but I intended this for myself as well. It just felt like a sense of reverence. So we bowed, and then I saw that there was more circles and more beings. And then I saw what I think are the Terranusians. And typically when I see blue beings, I think that it's Syrians, because I associate Syrians with blue, and a lot of the Syrians that I've seen are blue. But they told me their heads were longer and bigger, and they told me they were Terranusian. And so I think that's what they were. And so I'm in like a room, and I feel my guide, that is a blue guide, swirling my body and my DNA. And it's interesting because today I posted a question asking people about DNA and to help me with clearing certain things. And so as he's swirling it, there was, I don't know if this was after or before, so he's swirling my DNA, and I could see like different crystals that are azure blue in my DNA, and like in my strands, I guess I was asking them what they were doing, and they said that they were activating the strands. And so everybody who was there is also a carrier of these azure crystals or strands and codes that are descendants. And so they were activating these, and then there was like a woman who was kind of like a priestess or a very wise being, and she was kind of like picking out my DNA, and she was just like tossing out junk. And I was like, okay, thank you for doing that, because I asked her, what are you doing? Like, why are you guys swirling around because I feel them swirling around in my head or in my parts of my brain or like parts of my DNA. And so I guess that's what they're doing. They're swirling it around, activating it, and tossing out the junk is what they told me. Hold on, it's sundown. Okay, so I was thankful, but maybe this was a little bit after. I don't remember the time sequence. Like I said, I just need to get this out there. And so then I was witnessing how these Terranusians, I think, these blue beings with big, enlarged, like oval kind of heads that were kind of like slanted back a little bit. I was on another planet where they had landed, and I think it might have been Nibiru. I'm not exactly sure which planet, but it looked a little bit dark. And we were rescuing these women, and these women looked very interesting. Like some of them were blue, and they had tan skin, like tan blue, and they looked African American, some of them. And so it was like African American with like like the really, really curly hair. And like the woman that I was looking at, she had blonde hair, but she was like dark skinned, blue, African American. She had a baby. And there was other kinds of women there. And I think it was Nibiru. I think it was like one of the breeding sites. And so we came and we like rescued them. And we just brought them with us, and they were relieved. Like I could feel the relief. And so my guides, they were telling me, they were allowing me to see this because this is what they're doing. They're like freeing the planet, right? They're helping to free the enslaved people. And I could feel the relief of all of the women that we rescued. There was women with children and babies. I don't know if there was men. Maybe there was like some young men, but yeah, I think it was mostly women. And then I was shown another scene, and the other scene was, it was almost like an assembly. So I saw Jesus. Maybe I shouldn't say Jesus. Maybe I should say Christ. I saw Christ. This was in a different scenery, like assisting some of the people that we had rescued, or assisting some people, like a group of people, and they were wearing kind of like desert clothes. And now it's like a daylight scene, and he's like helping them. He's like holding their hands, and he's wearing like a visor, like almost like a big giant, like, you know, if you're on a motorcycle and you're wearing the like a helmet, and he was just wearing like a golden visor. And I wanted to see his eyes, I wanted to see his face, and I just like intended for that. And then he looked at me, and I could recognize him, and he looked very human. And I just understood that he's like a spokesperson, like he's one of the earth representatives as a spokesperson for our, you know, divine creator. And so he looked at me, and he was continuing to assist these people. And then I saw more Terranusians and a few other beings from probably other planets. They were just like slightly different colors, and I saw them, and we were assisting. Like they were scooping up like chunks of dragons, like if you imagine, like if they had sliced up a snake dragon, and the one that I saw was mostly like reddish gold, and they were scooping this dragon up and putting her on this like almost like a belt. And what they were doing is they said that they were preserving her. They said, or the beings, they were preserving the fallen dragons, or like the fallen kin, and they were just sealing them up like in tiny little pieces. They put them on this conveyor belt, and they sealed them up in these like golden, it looked like potato sacks, but they were golden. And then I saw how the chunk started to grow into like a golden fetus baby of like, it was going to have another body, and it was going to have a chance to regenerate. Or okay guys, I pulled over, and I recorded this video for you, but then my phone got overheated. There's definitely some interference going on, and there was just some strange woman like walking around my car. I had kind of weird vibes from her. So anyways, then I was flying with my guide, and I was flying over some planet. There was like concentric circles of green that we were flying over. This guide, he was blue again. Then we got to this place where they gave us these gold, kind of like, I don't want to say wafers because I know people do that at church, and it was not, this isn't church. You know how when you go underwater and you make bubbles, it can create these concentric circles, so it's like a thin ring within another ring. So it's kind of like that, but not exactly. It was like an oval. All I can think of is like, they gave us these golden bubbles that you could eat, and you didn't have to if you didn't want to, but I wanted to. And I ate it, and when you eat it, it makes everything gold for a little while. Like you feel gold, and everything, all of the gold codes, or there's specific fire codes that light up inside of you when you eat this. And so what they're basically doing is they are activating the azurite crystals within the human DNA for all of the people who are carrying Yeshua's blood, or ancestry, or descendants, which there are many people who do carry portions of this. And so they're activating that within the DNA. They're also, the gold things that they gave us were to activate specific, I feel like they're fire codes. They're like gold fire codes. And they told me, they didn't say fire codes, they said that it was going to activate the dormant DNA that had been, the parts of us that had been dormant for a long time. And so that's basically what they're doing. There's a lot going on interdimensionally right now. Like I can even feel it. My son, I brought him to the park. He's taking a nap in the back. He doesn't want to wake up. He woke up briefly for a moment, and he said, "What's your name?" I was like, it's Tarani, it's your mom. He's like, okay. And then he just went back to sleep. So, I mean, that happens very rarely, where you like wake up and you don't know who you are. But there's some sort of, like, when all of these DNA codes start to activate within you, it does something to your field, to the energy around you, that activates you and sort of like almost like momentarily puts the whole system on pause, or on like a stasis of like, it makes me think of hovering. So instead of sending electrical impulses to fire in a specific pattern of your memories, everything is hovering until it gets activated and programmed in the appropriate and right sequences. So that's what's happening, and it's happening for all of us at various degrees. I'm allowed to tell you this. I asked. I can sense that some beings might not want me to, but I think the ones that don't want me to might be more on like the darker team. I'm allowed to tell you this because they said, yeah, you can tell whoever you want. Initially, when I spoke to them, the interference, I think, is coming from a different source, but they said that this is really a reminder. And so this is what I was telling you before my phone overheated. Let me make sure it's not dying. Okay, it's good right now because I turned on the AC. So hopefully everything records all right. But so it made a lot of sense to me why I wasn't able to thrive in certain ways in the human world. And what happens is that, like, even though you might want to ask like for success in every single lifetime when you incarnate on different planets and you're on a rescue mission, or you're on some sort of mission to like help free all of the other humans, or all of the other beings that are there, you don't want to thrive on a fallen system, because that system is going to crumble and it's going to get taken out, and you're going to have to release it anyway. So what a lot of us do sometimes is like, we agreed to be on a mission where all of our needs are met, especially if we're humble about it. And if we can get our ego aside, we will see that we are perfectly provided for. But as far as like things that people would consider successful in different realms, not just Earth, but different realms and different worlds, sometimes that doesn't happen because that system is supporting slavery. And if your being is against slavery, of course it's not going to want to thrive on that. It's going to want to bring in something new that is going to set everyone free, or that is going to be based on a system that is of freedom. And I don't mean false freedom where you like get everything for free, but then it's completely monitored and your DNA is like totally being tracked, that kind of thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like wholeheartedly, like sovereign and free, like that kind of system. Because it might not be clear to a lot of people, but I really only work with God's team. Like that is where my heart is. And the biggest way that I can identify these teams, and the biggest reminder that I can give you as well, is that we are on a mission to salvage and reclaim as many as we can, which is all of us eventually. But our main mission is freedom and sovereignty for all beings and star systems. Freedom and sovereignty for all beings and star systems. Freedom and sovereignty for all beings and star systems. It's a very grounding statement. I'm starting to feel really activated. Thank you. Okay. So I'm just saying this as a reminder to you that there's a bigger mission and there's bigger things that we're doing that are not defined by human terms, and you can still pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. I'm just reminding you that there's a reason why, if you know you're being guided, there's certain things that are happening in a certain way or taking longer, or why things get wiped, like bank accounts, or why people go bankrupt, or why people's businesses fail, or that kind of thing. There's a bigger picture, and if your soul signed up to help set humanity free, your codes are being activated, which means what? It means your freedom codes. It means that calling for wanting a new system. It means that calling of working for the Most High, of working for God's source, which means that everyone is supplied, everyone has access, everyone is transparent about what is being done and what is being used. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing for us to deal with, is like I live in Hawaii and everything feels very, like, I don't know what it is about the wind here, but I still live in Colorado. Maybe there's more city pollution, but even in the mountains it didn't really feel this way. But it feels like sound carries really well and everybody can hear you. Like, you could be on the other side of a hill and people will hear you, on the other side of a mountain here, and you will hear the other people who are hiking and the other people who are talking. And so I feel like everything is very transparent, and it's a very small town, so everybody always talks about everybody, and there's like no escaping it. So if you give people like some weird, like a reason to say bad things about you, firstly, like, other gossipers might take it up, but then I think everybody is also really psychically activated here because of the crystals and the temples that are in here and on the ground, and even like outside of it. But people that you wouldn't expect to be psychic really are, and I feel like people don't fall for bullshit. And it's like, if if you want to go around and say bad things about people, like I think eventually like the truth does come up because people can sense energy. So that's another thing. So all of these codes that have been dormant, like all these other ways of being that you might remember, that you might bring from other planets and other places that you have access to because you've been there, because you've had lives and you've learned the lessons there, and you have expanded your understanding of who you are under different conditions, in different worlds, in different systems, in different ways of organizing society, of organizing families, of organizing worlds. And if you can tap into your access of that, it's going to help humanity now when things are starting to connect in new ways. And that's pretty much what's happening. I don't want to say that things are getting destroyed. I want to say that things are getting connected in new ways that may have not, that we don't remember, but these are not completely new in terms of like we've never tried it. They're just ways that we might not remember this cycle and this round of being incarnated here and in a body. So we are connecting. And I think that when you're feeling overwhelmed, the biggest thing you can do is, the best and biggest thing you could do is just take a deep breath. Jesus is human. Joshua is human. Like, you're being helped. And there's a bigger picture. And you just breathe through it. Ground and breathe through it. Like, have a grounding statement like sovereignty and freedom for all beings and star systems. It seems to be my new grounding statement as of right now. And so I just wanted to share in case that it's helpful for other beings and other people. And as always, encourage you to, only pick up what actually resonates with you when you check in with your own truth meter, because we are not anybody's gurus here. We are encouraging everyone to have connection with their own God self.